Welcome back to River Talk. Got my banker on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
Oh, yeah, well, we do.
I mean,
you're
I'm
banker.
scratching my head wondering where our show would be today without the support of Anderson Brothers Bank. But when you start thinking about the history of Anderson Brothers Bank, that question can be repeated over and over and over and over all over the PD.
Of course. Now, we've got Rivers Anderson on the phone.
Hey, Rivers.
Rivers, are you one of the brothers, or are you one of the sons, or what of this family here, Anderson Bank?
I am one of the great-grandson of one of the founders.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good enough. So you must have got a heck of a nice allowance when you were a kid.
No, I wish it worked that way, but unfortunately it hadn't.
Is that right?
Well, he's working in the family business, so that probably speaks volumes about the allowance situation. Because I didn't get an allowance in my family business, so but there was still work to be done.
That's right.
The history of Anderson Brothers Bank is just an incredible American story, because we had gone through economic upheaval. I mean, it was a very, very terrible time, and I think it's a great story for us to look back on with some of the economic issues that we're going to be that we're facing now, what we're heading into down the road. But when we were in that so-called Great Depression, that's when Anderson Brothers Bank really started to shine.
That's right. The bank was opened in 1933 after the Great Depression. Wow. And it was my great-grandfather and his brother, and they were in the warehouse business. And at that time, there really weren't any local community banks in these small communities. You had to go to these big cities to talk to a banker or talk to anybody about borrowing money. And those big banks in the big cities, they just, they weren't really looking to finance people that they didn't know coming, 60 to 100 miles away. So they actually started, what they did was they actually started loaning money out the back of their warehouse or to farmers so that they could have their operating lines.
It's a great story, man.
It's an incredible story,
yeah,
and was a great model, because it was duplicated across the country after that time. But you start looking back at it. I mean, we've had a lot of trying economic situations. I mean, after the bank started, I mean, a few years into it, the country's at war.
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible story. And the area has changed. You said that your great grandfathers were loaning money out of a warehouse, and so obviously, I'm thinking of some of the agricultural crops that were big at that time. Tobacco was one of those, and so the landscape has changed, but the basic principles of what made Anderson Brothers really form back in the 30s of the last century pretty much are alive and well and part of your business plan today.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, you guys are survivors, in other words. I mean, as far as most banks that have opened up, a lot of them have closed down or they've been eaten up by the big boys, and you guys are still pretty much a local bank. I mean, you can walk in, actually talk to the cashiers, and, hey, Bertha, how you doing? That kind of thing, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're still growing, but we still make sure that we have that community bank feel. We still are family owned and operated, and we plan to keep it that way. And so it is different. There are a lot of community banks that have been, especially after 2008, there were a lot of banks that were gobbled up, and there's been some of them in the last couple of years that you've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and the number of community banks across the state really continues to dwindle. So, but we plan on staying here and staying family owned and operating and growing within, South Carolina.
Yeah, on that whole concept of community banking, that's been something that's ebbed and flowed during the 90s. That seemed to be the fashionable thing, and like you said, it has changed, but Anderson Brothers is still there. So that's important, especially whether you guys do choose the communities that you do go into. Is there some kind of formula? Is it based on population? Because Anderson Brothers here at the Grand Strand has taken off. There's locations everywhere.
There's not really a formula. I mean, what we have kind of done is people, they don't really bank with banks, they bank with people. So whenever we have a manager or somebody that is able to grow and bring the business loans, and we might look expanding into a region that we hadn't really planned on, just when the opportunity presents itself.
I like that formula. We bank with people. We take care of the people. That's I guess that's your survival technique, and it's working. Because it's really, now it's getting to the point where you've got the big brother out there and some of these major banks, and they're so impersonal. But and we've had some of your folks over here actually doing an interview with us live, and you can just tell. I'm sure that your customers just love them. You hire very good people over there.
Yeah, we've been blessed to really bring on some good talent, and we've really been blessed, and it's kind of like we've picked up some good momentum, and the momentum continues. And as we've picked up some good employees, they're able to kind of go over and talk to some of the people they used to work with and say, hey, I really encourage you to come over and work with us. The cultures here is amazing, and it's worked good. So,
well, Rivers, can I make a suggestion?
What's that?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Will you guys ever maybe come back and say, if you'll come and join our bank and bank with us, we'll give you a toaster or an iron or something? I miss all those gifts and stuff I used to get, the enticements.
Yeah, anyone under the age of 30 is like going, what is he talking about?
Right. Well, that was some of it's funny you say that. We're actually getting ready to start a new campaign where I can't even think of the name of the group right now. But it was one of the groups that helped Coastal Federal back in the day whenever they were doing the toaster campaigns. So we're going to start running a campaign when we're trying to open up some more core deposit accounts. And I don't know that we're going to be giving away toasters, but we will be doing sweepstakes.
Yeah,
sweepstakes.
But that's great.
Oh,
that's good.
It is great. It really is. What's old is somewhat new again, and it resurfaces. This is a tricky time because as we see it here, some folks have not gotten that stimulus check. Probably by the time the interview airs, most people will. A lot of folks have filed for unemployment, but some are running into delays. So the money situation gets there. The bills are still expected to be paid. So if you're a customer of the bank, and are there loans available now?
Yeah, there are. We are still. We have closed our lobbies at this time. But what you can do is if you call into each whatever location, I'm here in Conway, so if you were to call in, we have direct lines posted on our windows where you can call and talk directly with the lender and schedule an appointment. So we're still actively loaning money. Naturally, the volume's down with a lot of it being closed, and the home stay order, but we are still loaning money, and all you have to do is call into one of our offices, and we'll be happy to take an application.
Well, let's focus in on the business side of things. Small businesses obviously got to be a huge sector of your business. This is a situation where I brought in the outside resources of someone who knows how to deal with this, and so I'm dealing with a local bank. Obviously, if someone owns a business, do they go through you, or are there outside brokers that can help with the paperwork? How do we get the small business loans through your bank? Now,
when you say small business loans, are you referring to the
Payroll
SBA
Protection
loans?
Program for pretty much, PPP.
Yeah. It'd be the same process as if you were what we're doing. We're not using a third-party vendor.
Okay.
So if you
All
call in, we have our commercial loan officers are taking the application, and what they do is they're basically getting the last 12 months or 2019 payroll records. They're taking the average monthly payroll for 2019, and then you multiply it by 2.5 to give you your loan amount that your company would qualify for under the SBA PPP or Payroll Protection Law.
And if I think the number is 75% of that if that is spent towards salaries, I mean, obviously utilities and that sort of stuff can be used. But if it comes in at 75%, these are basically not really loans. They turn into grants, correct? Or did I miss something?
No, that's right. You know, we're still awaiting some more guidance on how the SBA wants us to handle the forgiveness portion. But under everything that I've read and seen and the way that we're interpreting it is kind of like what you said. So if a company qualifies for, let's just use an example of $100,000, and as long as they, over the next 2-month period or 8 weeks, as long as they spend $75,000 or 75% on their gross payroll, then that should be forgiven, and then the additional monies can be used for things such as interest on your mortgage payment, any lease payment, and then there's some utilities and some other things that qualify for potential forgiveness.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to use that extra 25% to go take a vacation. I mean, obviously, there's some checks and balances that are in there. But on the other side, too, there's also a loan outside of that a lot of small businesses can qualify up to, and that's somewhere around a $10,000 mark. And obviously, you would pay that back, but there's a reduced interest payment from what I'm hearing. I'm only playing catch up right now.
Yeah, and I can't think of the name right now, but those are called like the acronym they're using is like the EDIL loan, and it's basically, it sounds like the first 10,000 of it's basically a grant. Now, if you want to apply for those, they're not actually doing those through the banks. You actually go directly to SBA's website, and you can apply there. But the way I understand it is if somebody comes in has already got the $10,000 under the EDIL loan or whatever it's called.
Right.
If they've already got the $10,000, I believe what happens is if there's $10,000 that we will not be able to forgive on the payroll protection plan in the event that they were to use both programs.
Okay. Yeah, there's all kinds of scenarios that are playing out. They're talking that there might be another round of relief money coming to small businesses and particular industries. So I would imagine that it is a real tricky time for you guys, that you've really got to be up to speed on it. And as government, because this has been unleashed in a hurry, to the government's credit, they did get this unveiled and out. But by doing so, there's a little tricky things that, are often leave questions that you got to get back with customers on just to be safe.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, we're moving as best we can and moving through it. But I just missed a call where some new guidance came out last night with the SBA put out as far as for sole proprietors and the them being able to apply and what guidelines we need to go through. And it just came out last night, so we had to get everybody on a call at 10 o'clock this morning to try to put out some guidelines and policies and parameters for our lenders to follow. So, yeah, it's constantly changing, and we're just trying to keep up with it as best we can.
Yeah, it's a strange situation for sure, and obviously money is a vital part of the economy and our day-to-day lives, and it's good to have the bank right there on our sides, and a real credit to keeping your employees safe in the drive-through model. I'm normally one of those guys that likes to walk in and see some people, but I've been hitting that drive-through lately, and
yeah, but some of the bigger banks. I'm with a bigger bank. I'm getting ready to go with Anderson's bank because they don't have drive-throughs anymore. The bigger guys like Bank of America, you can't even get a teller. You can't drive through anymore. You got ATMs. Yeah, down the Surfside they don't even have it. They've got you can't. You have to go inside. And I like to drive through. So I can,
okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Potato.
Yeah, there you go. So I compliment you on that. At least you have some drive-through tellers you can talk to through the window. Do you pass out doggy biscuits?
We do have doggy biscuits.
All right, I'm coming over.
He's coming.
I'm coming. I'm telling you.
Well, we'll get you back on a future broadcast and talk about some of the old standard programs. I know we had talked about car loans, and usually this time of the year is a big time for cars as people get their tax returns. But that business, if you still are in that market, if the car breaks down, a car is essential. So you are open for business on everything. You just got to call ahead and schedule an appointment.
Yeah, we're still booking. Like I said, the volume's down, but we're still taking normal applications for consumer loans, commercial loans, and we're still taking them and funding them. It's just volume's down right now, but we're steady booking loans every day.
Yeah, we've definitely got to keep the economic engines rolling. We'll obviously slide back into some normalcy, but I think about situations like that all the time. Can you still go in there? And obviously, that's just one of those things that common sense tells you so. So just call your local branch and get the answers and see what they can do for you.
That's right.
One thing too is that we've got a lot of connections in real estate here. Deacon still has his real estate license. Still home loans. That situation still a vibrant part moving forward.
Yeah, I haven't. The Horry County Courthouse is closed. So as far as real estate transactions, but I still see that they're moving. And things are closing out well, and what I think they're having to do is they're e-filing stuff online with the courthouse.
Sure.
So we still have, there's still deed transfers going on, mortgage refinances, new money purchases, all that kind of stuff is still kind of business as usual, and it's slow, but it's still going on.
And there's some folks, a little older, my age and a little older, that they still like to deal in cash, and they're a little reluctant to use those cards. But now I think, because I know how dirty money can be being transferred, you can get some great setups where you can do the virtual online banking through you guys as well.
That's right.
Yep, incredible stuff. Well, Mr. Rivers, we will meet soon. I know you've got a lot on your plate. Make sure you get all those exact numbers ready together on that information that's coming in from the Small Business Administration, because that is some important stuff, especially in a service industry-driven economy like we have. Thank you for your time, my friend, and keep up the good work.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. We appreciate their support here as sponsors on the show, Anderson Brothers Bank and Rivers Anderson. More coming up in a minute.